100 points. Here we go. Come on, give us something good. Just skip it. Johnson. Okay, that's good for the right-hand side. Not as much pace as I'd like, and obviously he does touch. We'll take it. We'll take it.
At one point in time, Adam Johnson was living the dream, playing Premier League football, representing England, and turning out for clubs like Manchester City and Sunderland every single week. He had the career, the lifestyle, and even a long-term partner who was pregnant at the time, with everything around him suggesting stability both on and off the pitch. But despite all that, his career didn't slowly fade away. It completely collapsed, and it all came down to one decision he made outside of football. Johnson began his career at Middlesbrough FC, coming through the academy and quickly standing out as a player with real quality on the ball, someone who could take defenders on, create chances and influence games in attacking areas. That ability earned him a move to Manchester City in 2010, where he became part of a squad that was beginning to dominate English football. During this time, he was involved in a historic moment for the club, being part of the team that won the FA Cup in 2011, which was their first major trophy in over 30 years.
It is decent! Tell him, lad, it's decent! It's decent! Every day I'm shuffling. See you later.
He was also representing England, which only added to the idea that his career was heading in a very strong direction. A move to Sunderland AFC followed, where he became more of a key player, regularly starting and playing a more important role in the team. At this stage, everything looked stable, and there was no real reason to believe that anything was about to go wrong. However, behind the scenes, a situation was developing that would eventually bring everything down. It all began with a young Sunderland fan who, like many others, looked up to the players and decided to try add some of them on Facebook. Unexpectedly, one of these requests was accepted, an account that belonged to Adam Johnson. At first, it would have felt unbelievable from her perspective, but that quickly changed as the messages began and continued over time. Importantly, she made it clear how old she was, but despite that, the communication didn't stop. Instead, it continued and became increasingly inappropriate, with Johnson choosing to keep engaging in these conversations that he should never been part of in the first place. By January 2015, the situation had escalated to the point where he arranged to meet her in person, in a scheduled area behind some shops where he gave her signed Sunderland shirts. But even after that meeting, the messaging continued, with hundreds of messages being exchanged and further contact being arranged. A second meeting was then arranged, this time with Johnson picking her up in his car. And during this meeting, the situation crossed a very serious line as they engaged in behaviour that is completely inappropriate and unlawful given the circumstances. And I'll definitely get demonetised on YouTube if I say anything about it. Despite how serious this already was, the communication continued afterwards, with Johnson messaging her again, showing that this isn't something that he had simply stopped. A third meeting was planned, but when Johnson cancelled it, it led to the girl opening up to her friends about what had happened. From there, the situation spread pretty quickly, moving from her school to social media and then eventually into the public domain. Once her parents became aware of what had happened, they had reported it to the police, and on the 2nd of March 2015, Adam Johnson was arrested.
In his last moments of freedom, Adam Johnson sped into court, if only to avoid the wall of cameras that have followed and captured every step of his disgrace.
About fucking time. One of the most controversial parts of this whole situation was how Sunderland handled it early on. Despite a police investigation being underway and growing public concern, the club continued to play and pay Johnson, stating that they wanted to wait for the legal process to fully unfold.
His plea for all charges to be not guilty. And on that basis, he trained and played for the team if and when I selected him. And I think that just before the trial started, to hear that he had pleaded guilty was a massive shock to everybody at the football club, which the football club took swift and direct action to dismiss him immediately. So
this decision caused a lot of frustration among the fans, especially as more and more information began to circulate, with many feeling enough was already known for action to be taken sooner. There's a general sense that even without every detail being public, the situation was still serious enough to warrant a stronger response from the club. As the case progressed, the full details became clearer through the legal process, and in 2016, Adam Johnson pleaded guilty to charges relating to sexual activity with a minor. From that moment, everything changed immediately. Sunderland AFC thankfully terminated his contract, effectively ending his time at the club and bringing his professional career at a top level to a close. He was sentenced to prison, marking one of the most significant and shocking downfalls ever seen in English football. And of course, we've all seen that video afterwards. Don't even need to say anything about it, really.
I was going to the home game, like, you park your car in the car park, and at my car every day, like, waiting for me, just standing there, like, in all the gear and that. All dressed up? Well, not like, look like tight jeans, little shirts, not like skirts and that. But then, after the game, she was asking me pictures all the time, so this went on for about 6 months. And then next thing she said, oh, can I get us a signed shirt? Got talking to her a few weeks, and then I met up with her, and kissed her. Next thing you do a 6 months.
After everything had come out and the case had gone through all the courts, the impact of the situation didn't just stop with Adam Johnson himself, because behind the scenes there were other people whose lives had also been completely affected by what had happened. His partner at the time, who had been with him before any of this happened and was expecting his child, later spoke out in an interview with the Daily Mail, where she gave her perspective on everything that had happened and how it affected her personally and what she has to do with her child.
I did stand by him because it didn't feel like it was that serious at the time, because he was still playing for Sunderland. We were still getting invited to go places with friends. I was kept in the dark for a full year till we went to court, and that's when it all kind of came out. That's when I knew it was serious, like really serious. I did think we had the perfect family. Adam destroyed that. I did get pregnant quite quickly after Ayla, and we made the decision that it wasn't right to bring another baby into the world, into what was a mess at the time. So obviously I had to get a termination. I had to decide to take Ayla into a prison where there was loads of sex offenders, but then I still wanted her to see her dad. So again, that was pressure, a massive decision I had to make. And I never thought that I would bring a baby in the world and she has to go and visit her dad in prison, especially surrounded by so many people who've done bad things.
You were going to have that horrendous conversation one day, because there is no getting away from the fact that Ayla's daddy's going to be on the sex offenders register for the rest of his life, and you're going to have to sit down and tell her.
We have both spoke about it, that we are going to sit down and tell her when we think the time's right, when we think that she is old enough to understand, and explain what he's getting branded as. We both will have to sit down and show everything, go through everything, and let her make her mind up on what she thinks.
After serving his sentence, Johnson was released, but by that point, any realistic return to football had disappeared. Clubs and brands distanced themselves from him, and his name became permanently associated with the actions that led to his conviction, rather than his career on the pitch. Looking back at the story of Adam Johnson, it's hard not to see it as one of the clearest examples of how quickly everything can fall apart. He had everything, the career, the platform, and the opportunities, but lost it all because of his own stupid decisions, and the fact that he was a wrong-un. But what do you think? Do you think Sunderland should have acted sooner when the investigation first became public, or were they right to wait for the legal process to play out? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.